Hey guys, it's Neil again from Heart of Texas Armory, and today I got a first look video for you guys on my new Casio Oceanus. So join me today and find out my initial thoughts on this super cool quartz watch from Casio. So I've been wanting to pick up a Casio Oceanus for quite some time now, and the reason is because I think the Oceanus series from Casio is an excellent all-purpose watch. So if you're not familiar with the Oceanus series, they are pretty much Casio's highest end watch. So the movements that are inside these watches, the materials, the construction, the finishing on these watches is all quite a bit higher than your standard Casio. So they are packed full of some impressive technology and specs. So what we're going to do here is kind of give you my initial impressions on this timepiece, why I wanted to pick one up, and some of the things I really like about it. And then of course, coming up soon, I will do a full review on this watch, probably in 2 or 3 weeks, once I wear it, get used to it, and find out my complete thoughts on this piece. But for now, we'll go over some of my initial impressions. So we'll get the specs to pop up here on the screen for you guys so you can get a feel for the size of this watch and how it looks on my wrist, which is a 6 7/8 inch wrist. And some of the standouts of those specs are just the overall dimensions of this timepiece. It does wear a bit larger than the specs indicate, so if you measure the case diameter at its widest point, I get 41.5 millimeters. If you measure from the left-hand side of the case right here to the section in between this button and this section that juts out, you get closer to 40. But of course, this watch with buttons here and that section that does jut out, it does wear a little larger. I would say it wears like a 42 millimeter in my opinion. Lug to lug, you're looking at 46 millimeter, which is not too bad, although it does have integrated end links here that causes the lug to seem a little larger. So let me get the watch off of my wrist here and I'll show you what I mean. So here we go. So we've got a measurement from that end link here all the way to this end link of just over 50 millimeters. So keep that in mind. As for the case thickness, you're looking at around 13 millimeters, which is not bad. I would have preferred it to be a little thinner. That way it would work a little better in a dress environment, although I think the 13 will still work. But 13 millimeters on the case thickness. Weight on this watch is 90 grams, so nice and lightweight because this watch is constructed out of titanium. So titanium case, titanium bracelet here, so very lightweight. Of course, this is very high quality titanium. You can see there is a combination of finishes here of brushed and high polished. So Casio did a really nice job on this Oceanus case here. Everything from the materials used to the finishing is all top notch. So we've zoomed in here just a little bit to take a look at this beautiful dial here. So my watch has a really pretty slate blue dial color here with a nice sunburst effect, which is quite impressive. All applied indices, as you can see here, a date window. I really like that logo that they use, the Oceanus wave there. I think that's really pretty. The dial overall is very impressive in my opinion. This watch here originally was sold for between $500 and $600 US market. This is a Japanese domestic watch, so you couldn't really get these in the States unless you ordered one from overseas and had it imported or bought it used. But overall, very impressive. And what's really neat is this timepiece is a solar powered watch. You can see it's a quartz watch. And what's surprising to me is that the dial is still this pretty being a solar powered watch. So a lot of watches that use the solar power technology, you kind of compromise the dial because that solar cell needs to be on the dial somewhere. But this one here just looks like a normal dial to me. It's very pretty with that beautiful slate blue sunburst. So super cool that you get the solar power technology, but you also get a beautiful dial. A couple other things we'll mention here is that this Casio Oceanus does use the Casio Wave Cepter technology, which what that does is it just picks up the radio signal, the atomic clock signal coming out of Colorado. So every night this watch will pick up that signal in auto sync. So you never have to worry about the time being off with this timepiece. It's going to be spot on as long as you have access to that radio signal. And a couple other things I really like with my initial impressions here of this timepiece is one, it has pretty solid lume. You can see that lume right here in action. It does last pretty much all night, so it's on par with a lot of other watches out there. I don't think it's quite to the level of Seiko lume, but it's pretty good. But it has a trick up its sleeve here. You can see these little marks right here at the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock position. those are actually LED lights. So if you need to light up the watch face for whatever reason to have an easier time reading the watch, to read the time, you push this top button right here. Look at that. It lights up with those two LEDs for a second or two. A really cool feature. So that is also super cool with this piece. So my initial impressions are pretty favorable. I really like how lightweight this watch is, the materials they use. So we've got a watch constructed completely out of titanium. We have a sapphire crystal here. I don't even know if I mentioned that earlier, but we do have sapphire. We've got the wave Cepter technology. It has just a ton of features packed into it. And on top of that, it looks really good in my opinion. So overall, my initial impressions here are super positive. So be on the lookout for a full review soon on this timepiece. If you have any questions or comments on this watch, definitely leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all take care.